Oh, welcome to another episode of our live stream, My Journey to the Trinity. My name is Hussein. I'm happy to be with you. Happy you could be with me. Hello, Abdullah. God bless you. Hello, Tiger. Hello, Jack Ray. Hello, TTTT. God bless you guys. Leg of Lamb. Aorta contorta. Yep, fake prophet is right. He's the fakest of them all. Who's it? Somebody had something from Old McDonald's. Old McDonald's. Old McDonald's had a farm. The Quran is it? Yup, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Is that what Eric did a song? Eric did a song about the Quran, about the on his farm he had pigs or something, and then he put the Quran there. That was I mean, it was really well done. I mean, really very nice. I'm sure it's AI, you know. But man, it was very well done. I thought, I'm new to this AI universe, and so oh, you have it on loop. Okay, yeah. I saw part of the video. I thought, dang, that is very nicely done. He brought a lot of different, yeah. Hopefully, I have my new in less than a month. Most of it is just yes, nice. Hello, Joan Valaroso. That's why rabbit goats eating Quran. I tell you what, man. The desecration has become as it all lands at the feet of Malik, the feet of Malik, at the feet of Malik. It all lands at his feet. He has been disgusting. He's been a disgusting pig in what he's done. He's been a disgusting pig, and Malik, dang, and the Quran warns about it, doing that, saying, don't insult their gods lest they turn around and insult Allah. And he has just fallen. Hey, I just had vitamin C. You guys. So oh, you're saying kiwi for the best vitamin C fruit. We didn't. Yeah, but I did have uh, vitamin C. So, um, um, yeah, because my throat was just a tiny bit there. So, I used to have a pastor from New Zealand, and they call them Kiwis down there, and so we're very Kiwi aware. So, God bless you guys. There's a couple things I just want to talk about. Yeah, there's he's also the vitamin harissa. Vitamin harissa was the one that Gabriel brought him that gave him some manhood. He would eat it and be able to do other things. So, all right. One thing I want to talk about a little bit is now I know you guys saw this situation. This guy in Minnesota that here's another picture of him right here. There's a pastor preaching in his church, Southern Baptist, and then all of these atheist, Islamist aligned. Now, what do I mean, Islamist aligned? Is that there's a marriage between Islamism and the secular left, and the like Black Lives Matter and all that. And, they're all together now. And so they stormed a church, went inside the church, yelling at babies, yelling at kids, yelling at old ladies, intimidating the members, shaming them. It was so satanic. It was so wicked. And what was really bad about it is that it crossed the line. It crossed the line that will never be uncrossed. It is forever like this now. Thank you, Don Lemonhead. Don Lemon, he's the one that, and he was part of it, and he's bragging about it. He's saying the people that are against it are white supremacists. This guy is, dang, he was making millions and millions of dollars on CNN. This guy was making millions and millions of dollars on CNN. He was fired because he's a lunkhead. And so now he's doing his own thing. And he attacks churches. He attacks churches, attacks pastors in the middle of their sermons. Disgusting pig. And you know why this is so serious. I mean, this is serious for sure, but the reason why it's so serious is because this is going to be a trend now. Every Sunday, you're going to see this. And God forbid one of those nutcases not bring a weapon with them, or a bomb, or, strap a bomb to their chest. Don Lemon made it okay to go invade churches during worship. Satanic. Unbelievable. Unbelievable that they did this. They crossed that line. They crossed that line. You see, that's the danger of this thing, you guys. Thank God they didn't shoot anybody. Thank God they didn't blow themselves up in the church. Thank God that didn't happen. These satanic wimps being used by Satan. Thank goodness they didn't do that. But what they did do is they crossed that line. And, now that they crossed it, that was a sacred line. That was a sacred line. It's like, you don't cross that line. It was understood that the house of God is a place you don't go, you don't violate the sacredness of this place. They violated the sacredness of the place. Yelling at little babies, yelling at children and old ladies, intimidating the members. Yes, they were screaming at them. They were screaming in their faces in church. One guy was crying because of Don Lemonhead. One guy was in the corner crying, and Lemonhead is laughing. Disgusting pig. I can't stand him. I can't believe he did this. He stooped so low to blaspheme the Lord Jesus Christ. And then the way he treated the pastor was such disrespect. My goodness, Don Lemon, what the hell happened to you? What happened to you, man, that you wanted to be the one to make this common practice in the United States now? I hope nobody takes a gun into the church next time. Don Lemon, I'm so ashamed. I'm so disgusted with you. You disgusting pig. So I can't believe that he did this. Even your own book don't mean Quran. Hello, Quran is destroyer book. Bible is good morality from words of Jesus Christ. Yeah. People kill Jesus Christ because they don't want good values, don't want, they killed him because he claimed to be God. They killed him because he claimed to be God. He's the first person executed for who he is. He's the first person executed for who he is. And they asked him, "Are you the Son of God?" They had no, remember, they tried all the accusations because of his teaching, because of his miracles, because of what he did, and they could find no accusation that stuck. The only thing that stuck is who he is. The high priest said, "Are you the Son of the Blessed?" And he said, "I am." And that's the reason he got killed. And then when he went before Pilate, what did Pilate ask him? He didn't ask him what he did, didn't ask him about his miracles, didn't ask him about his morality. He asked him, "Are you the King of the Jews?" What was at issue is who he is. That's the reason they killed him. He was killed for who he is. So, yeah. Anyway, I don't believe this. I'm so disgusted with Don Lemon. I'm so disgusted at the way he treated the pastor, the way he treated that pastor so disrespectfully in the church during the service. Don Lemonhead, what the hell is wrong with you, man? What is wrong with you? How could you be so stupid, so disgusting? And it's disgusting because you're the one who cut the ribbon. You cut the ribbon on a new form of protest that is going to violate the houses of God. This isn't the end. You guys have started something. You crossed the red line, Don Lemonhead. You crossed a red line. And I hate to say this, you may have endangered God's people by what you did. You may have endangered God's people forever now, because there was a sacred line. There was a sacred line that you don't cross. And in the United States of America, they agreed this is a sacred line. You violated that line. And it can't be put up again. I'm so disgusted with you, you sick dog. Can't stand you for what you did. Man, disgusting pig. Anyway, so here he is. Yeah, I could watch the videos. I'm sure you guys have seen it. And here he is. I better not. I better not keep. Here's. I don't know if I can show this. U.S. ICE says our agitators are not just targeting our officers. Now they're targeting churches too. They're going from hotel to hotel, church to church, hunting for federal law enforcement who are risking their lives to protect Americans. Tim Walz and Jacob Frey are responsible for whipping these mobs into a frenzy and then allowing them to run rampant. We won't be deterred. ICE is going anywhere. isn't going anywhere. So anyway, guys, just yeah. So okay, yeah, exactly, Abla, exactly. Would he dare? Would you dare, Lemonhead? Lemonhead, would you dare go into a mosque and do that? Take your friends with you. Take these fat, overfed, well-fed, arrogant, Nintendo addicted, living in their grandmother's basement, liberals. Will they go into a mosque? Are you really that brave? Or is it just because you know Christians are good people, kind people? So, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Tiger when Avery's appearance. I'm not sure. Is he going to Minnesota? I'm not sure. Oh, are you talking about the court appearance? I'm not sure about that. Not sure about the date, but dirty dogs. Dirty dogs. Ah. Oh, in court, yeah. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I did hear it was going to be. Is it in January? I watched him at Balboa Park yesterday, but I didn't watch it from the beginning. I watched it like part where I think the police had already been called by the time I watched. I was working, so oh, it's in March. Okay, it's in March. Yeah, yeah. I think I heard that it was in March. Yeah, yeah. We need to pray for him, man. It's like you know, I mean, California is nutcases, left wing liberals like Lemonhead, and they're very intimidated by Islam. But just pray that the Lord will move and be glorified in Jesus' name. So God was definitely glorified yesterday in Balboa Park, and Satan is angry. So, all right. All right. Well, uh, oh, okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and I just wanted to look at a couple things today, not deep insight into something, but one thing I did want to look at, one thing that you see a lot, Muslims love to do this. It's a real show off move. They just love to show off in the middle of the street, in front of everybody. They have to pray. Jesus said, when you pray, you know, Jesus said, don't go stand in the corner of the streets like the hypocrites do, just to be seen. This is a move just to be seen. It's intended, but it's also intended kind of as an imperialism, kind of taking over, saying that this is ours. We are taking over your territory, Christians, and you can't stop us because we're too many, and you're a bunch of what Muslims think of Christians. And I know most Muslims don't think bad of Christians, but the Quran does, says that we're the least of creatures, less than cockroaches and pigs. So that's what the Quran says. We're the least of creatures. And yes, yeah, pray for Lemonhead. Yeah, he's definitely got his demons, and he brought them to church today. And his arrogance, thing that infuriated me about him is the way he talked to the pastor. That's what infuriated me. And God, you don't touch God's anointed. You don't touch God's anointed. That pastor is God's anointed man. And God defends his anointed. God himself defends his anointed. And David would never lift up his hand against God's anointed. Even Saul, who was fallen, he was fallen at the time when the Spirit of God had left him. And yet David would not lift up his hand against God's anointed. And the way the arrogance and stupidity of Don Lemon's interaction with the pastor today, it's like, dude, you crossed the line, man. Don Lemon, if Don Lemon ever hears this, Lemonhead, if you hear this, I just want you to, I want to make a request of you that you do a live stream where you apologize to Christians, or you apologize to Christians and say, I crossed the line. I'm just about clickbait. That's all I'm about. I just want clickbait. I just want attention. Just say that. Just say that, Don Lemonhead. I just want attention. All I care about is attention. I don't care about journalism. I don't care about justice. I don't care about the First Amendment. I just care about clicks. And so I did this for attention because I'm not getting enough attention these days. I'm not getting enough attention these days, so I needed to go and invade a church with my army of fat, overfed communists and atheists, Islamists maybe, I don't know. And so I just did this for attention. So just say that, Lemonhead. Just say that. Just say, dude, I'm sorry. I just need attention. And so I violated a holy place, and I'm very sorry. Just do that, okay, Lemonhead? That's my advice to you. Nothing else you say, blaming white supremacy and all this crap. You look so stupid right now. You look stupid, and you look weak, and you look like a cockroach for violating that holy place. Yeah. Anyway, I'm saying this seriously. That's what you need to do. You need to say, I'm sorry. I just needed attention, and I was wrong. I was wrong to do that because you crossed the line, man. And others are going to cross the line now because you opened the way for them. And churches are going to be treated like this now because of you. And now, anyway, getting back to the Muslim show, their showmanship, and they look very pious, they look very religious, but Jesus said not to do this because it's just something to be seen. You're doing it to be glorified by man. And there's lots of men who will glorify you and say, oh, look how pious and religious they are. And so Jesus says, you'll have your father, you'll get nothing from your Father in heaven. You're doing this just to be seen. And you were seen. So you accomplished your purpose. You wanted to be seen and you were seen. But what's interesting is that Muhammad said not to do this. What's interesting is Muhammad said not to do this. Okay. It says the Prophet forbade praying in the middle of the road. The Prophet forbade praying in the middle of the road. So when you see guys doing this, blocking the traffic, blocking all the Americans, Christians who want to walk there because they want to show off, well, they're actually disobeying Muhammad. They're disobeying Muhammad. Muhammad forbade praying in the middle of the road, or defecating, or urinating there too. So I don't know why Muhammad is I don't know if is he equating those activities, but he says the Prophet forbade praying in the middle of the road or defecating and urinating. You know, this the mayor of New York, Mamdani, I'm sure he will uphold, in spite of the fact that he's a communist, the rules about defecating and urinating. That's I'm sure the city will take care of that. But the praying in the middle of the road, I don't know, didn't Mamdani join them actually? But Muhammad forbade them. I mean, even if Mamdani allows you to do it, and I'm sure he will, I'm sure he'll join you. Heck, you know, um, who else is going to join them praying in the middle of the road? But Muhammad forbade it. It says here, if you look in the Arabic, حدثنا محمد بن يحيى حدثنا عمرو بن خالد حدثنا ابن لهيعة عن كرة عن ابن شهاب عن Salim. Salim, this is, one of the reasons right here is a Salim narrated. I'm not sure who this Salim is, but there's a very famous Salim. The very famous Salim is the one who he was a slave, and the woman who owned him, and she and her husband, she came to Muhammad, and Muhammad said, she told Muhammad that her husband was jealous. Abu Hudayfa was jealous of Salim because Salim would come in and out of the house because he was like their kid. They raised him. He's a slave. And Muhammad told that woman, well, breastfeed him. And she said, but he's a grown man. How can I breastfeed him? And Muhammad smiled. Muhammad smiled and said, I know he's a man. I know he's a grown man. Breastfeed him. Radda'i. Radda'i. And so this Salim might be that Salim. I don't know, but it just says An Salim. And Salim was the slave was freed. He was very active in Muhammad's, he was one of Muhammad's, after what Muhammad told the woman to do, he was very thankful to Muhammad, and he hung around Muhammad a lot. In fact, Muhammad said about that Salim, he says, take the Quran from 4 people. The Quran, you're supposed to take it from 4 people. One is, number 1, Abdullah bin Mas'ud. Number 2, Ka'b ibn Qais ibn Ka'b. I can't remember the guy's name now. And then there's another guy, I always forget. But the 4th guy Muhammad says to take the Quran from is Salim. Because Salim was, he became a follower of Muhammad. And so Muhammad said, take the Quran from this guy that he told a woman to breastfeed when he's a grown man. And so, anyway, if you want to make sense of that. But this might be that Salim too, okay? It says here at the beginning, see, Salim narrated from his father. I don't know. All right. But what did he say? The Prophet forbade praying in the middle of the road. Naha in yusalli ala qari'at tariq. Okay. The Prophet forbade praying in the middle of the road. So these guys are not just an irritation, not just, pompous and, self, virtue signaling and trying to show how much better they are than everyone else. But also, they're disobeying their prophet because Muhammad said not to do this. And there's a little bit of an issue here that they're claiming that territory. They're claiming Times Square, you guys. Pretty soon they're going to want Times Square. And with Memdani in office, whom they adore. They adore. Believe I got lots of friends and relatives, and uh, they adore Mamdani. They worship at his feet. And with him in office, Times Square might be changed. Might be called Medina Square from now on. Times Square might be called Quraysh Square. It might be called Kaaba, the Kaaba Square. Maidan, Maidan, maybe called Maidan, Time Maidan. Maidan is like, Maidan means like courtyard, like in Egypt when the Muslim Brotherhood, the Obama Brotherhood took over Egypt, and they named, there was one place called Maidan Tahrir, the Freedom Square is what they called it. That's what they're going to call Times Square, you guys. Just prepare yourself, Americans, New Yorkers, because you've just been occupied, and you've just been occupied by occupiers, and they're going to be changing street names too. You're going to have Bin Laden Square. You're going to have Zarqawi Corner. Yeah, you've been occupied, New York, and don't try to do anything. You can't do nothing about it. You've surrendered, and they're gonna run over you with their boots. So anyway, but just so you know, they are disobeying their prophet because their prophet forbade praying in the middle of the road. They're doing it. They're disobeying their prophet. So anyway, let's see. Could be used for sports or wars. Will there be next Christmas? There will be a Ramadan Square instead of Times Square. It'll be called Ramadan Square. You guys just will write it down. Just write it down. It sounds facetious. It sounds funny. Next year, it's going to be called Ramadan Square. Ramadan Square. Yeah. Then they're going to have, will there be a next tree? There'll be a Ramadan tree. A Ramadan tree. You guys, really? Sharia Square. Yo, boy, yay. Going all out there. Absolutely. You know what? We're laughing about it. Just watch. It's not even going to wait until Christmas time. It's going to start early because they're going to have their holidays. They're going to have Ramadan. They're going to have the Eid al-Adha, Sacrifice Square, Feast of Sacrifice Square, Eid al-Adha Square. You guys, I know there's lots of very, very beautiful, wonderful Muslims, nice people, but there's some really radical ones. Linda Sarsour, who are, dude, New York, you bowed down, you bowed to the east. You have been occupied, New York. Please don't deny Christ. You've done everything else, but please don't deny Christ. I hope that you won't deny Christ as well. New York City. Yeah. Oh, do I have a customer? Who? Oh, I don't think TT is Muslim, are you? I don't think TT is Muslim. No. TT is a Christian. He's from India. Yes. If we have any Muslims who would like to come up, we welcome you. And Linda Sarsour, yeah, she's going to be deputy mayor. Linda Sarsour. Her name, by the way, does mean cockroach, by the way. Sarsour means cockroach. I did a video about that with my friend Hazem years ago. It got like 200,000 views. But, Anyway, New York, you bowed, okay, and you jizya square, or you can go pay jizya. Yeah, you go pay jizya. Oh, well, you're already paying jizya in the form of welfare. Welfare, I've heard, is jizya, a form of jizya. So New York's already done that, and communist Mamdani he's going to codify it. New York bowed down, and Mamdani's going to codify it. Okay, and please, New York City, do not deny the Son of God. Do not deny the Son of God, New York City. Okay, you've done everything else. You bowed down, you kneeled, you kissed the ring, and everything. Please do not deny the Son of God, New York City. So at least defend yourselves in the USA. They're coming to your churches, you guys. Don Lemon broke that, crossed that line too. So they're gonna, Lord Jesus, come quickly, Lord. New York City, you bowed down and kissed the ring. Please do not deny the Son of God. Let me write that down. New York City, do not deny the Son of God. You've done everything else. Don't do this, okay? They have seen what has happened in Europe, UK, and they're they well, they brought it to America now too. Godfather said, "Love his son only, Jesus Christ, not son. Son is body of sister. Don't love him about sex." I'm sure what that means, Joan. Um, yeah, New York City, do not deny the Son of God. Yeah. You've done everything else, New York City. Don't deny the Son of God. Okay. All right. Well, let's look at another couple of hadiths here. Wow, you guys, I'm a little bit angry. You can tell I'm angry today. I'm angry about Don Lemonhead, dork, and I'm angry about New York City and what they've brought upon America, upon themselves. So, all right. If we have any Muslims here, please feel free to come up. I noticed this hadith. This is just kind of, I'm kind of just showing some funny hadiths a little bit today. It says this one. It says, I was with Salim. Okay, these are hadiths that talk about Salim. I don't know if this is the same Salim. Salim bin Abdullah. This possibly is Salim, that one Muhammad said told the woman to breastfeed him. He was close to Muhammad, and he's a, he was a slave of Abu Hudhaifa, his owner, the guy who owned him because he was a slave was Abu Hudhaifa, and but I didn't know what his father's name was, so it might be Ibn Abdullah. He says, I was with Salim bin Abdullah when Salim narrated from his father that the Prophet said, the angels do not accompany groups of people who have small bells with them. So, angels, if you have small bells, the angels do not accompany you. Now, this is something Muhammad said, لا تصحب الملائكة رفقة فيها جلجل. Okay. So They don't accompany people who have small bells. Okay. Some Mohammedan wisdom. I'm sure there's, if you look for it, you can actually find that hadith. It's in there many times. Let me just see. Let me just look at it. Sunnah. It says small bells. Um, okay, here's another one where it talks about that. I don't understand this. This is the first time I've seen this. So, but the reason I even looked at this because of Salim, the name Salim, but it says, I was sitting with Salim when a caravan belonging to al-Banin passed us by. They had bells with them. Salim narrated to Nafi from his father that Muhammad said, the angels do not accompany a caravan that has small bells with them. How often do you see small bells with these people? So, okay, whatever the heck that means. So, whenever Muhammad, there was something he didn't like, he would turn it into a religious issue. Like he didn't like black dogs. So he said, if you have black dogs, then, to kill them. And they were Satan and whatever. He didn't like silk. He didn't like what people wear silk. And so he said that if you wear silk, you will not wear it in paradise, meaning you're going to go to hell. So he says silk is the clothes that they wear in paradise, so don't wear it here on earth. So whenever he didn't like something, he turned it into a religious issue. And so small bells are apparently something he didn't like. And so he made it a religious issue. So interesting. Okay, I just look here. Don't forget this. The Prophet forbade praying in the middle of the road. Just in case you ever see Muslims doing this, you can just say to them, you're disobeying your Prophet. I mean, it's a nice show. You can get nice pictures. New York Times is going to write a nice, beautiful column because they have definitely bowed and kissed the ring. Imam Dani might join them, but they're disobeying Muhammad. And so Muslims need to know that when they pray in the middle of the street, they're disobeying their prophet that they're trying to glorify. So, okay, let's see another. This is in the series of Muhammad smiling. I've done episodes about when Muhammad smiles. Well, here's one of the hadiths where Muhammad smiles. It's interesting. The thing that's interesting about Muhammad is the stuff that makes him smile. There's, for instance, embarrassing that woman, telling her to go breastfeed a grown man. And it says the prophet was smiling, and kind of shows you what's in his heart. And but here's another time when he's smiling. So let's see what it says here. We came out for performing Hajj along with Muhammad. When we reached Al-A'raj, the Muhammad alighted. He got off the donkey or whatever. Aisha sat beside the messenger, and I sat beside. Okay, now this is Aisha talking, and I sat beside my father, Abu Bakr. The equipment and personal effects of Abu Bakr and Muhammad were placed with Abu Bakr's slave on a camel. Abu Bakr was sitting and waiting for his arrival. He's waiting for his slave with his possessions, It's kind of like, when you get from the airport and then sometimes your bags arrive late. Well, his bags arrived late and he arrived, the slave arrived, but he had no camel with him. Abu Bakr asked, where's your camel? He replied, I lost it last night. Abu Bakr said, there was only one camel. Even that you have lost? He then, Abu Bakr, began to beat him. While the messenger of Allah, peace and blessings upon him, was smiling. So Muhammad, the stuff that made Muhammad smile kind of leaves you feeling like this guy is really sick. He's smiling while this guy is beating his slave. He then began to beat him while the messenger was smiling. And he said, "Look at this man who is in the sacred state, putting on, the clothes that they wear for Hajj. What is he doing?" He was smiling. Muhammad was smiling as this guy was beating his slave. Guy's probably screaming, being beaten, and Muhammad is smiling. These are interesting, interesting little glimpses into who Muhammad is. You know, a lot of people talk about Muhammad. He wouldn't hurt a fly. He wouldn't, never kill an animal, never cut down a tree. This is what they say about Muhammad, because of the marriage of Islam and, the environmentalist movement. There's actually a marriage between them, you guys. Al Qaeda, the environmental office of Al Qaeda. And, there's, and so they say, oh, Muhammad wouldn't even cut down a tree. He would never cut down a tree. He's like, no, I want to see that. Muhammad wouldn't cut down a tree. Especially you remember when America, they asked a bunch of kids, this was in Time Magazine a few years ago, they did a poll of American kids in public schools, those satanically inspired public schools. And they said, they asked these kids, bunch of kids, little elementary school kids, what is your most important thing you want to do? And the kids, number one thing, they want to plant a tree. It wasn't to help their country. It wasn't to, to follow the Lord Jesus. It's not to do something, invent the cure for cancer. No, they want to plant a tree. It's because of the environmentalist garbage that's getting into the schools. It says, this is what it says about Muhammad. Awesome reported, Allah's messenger had declared Medina as sacred. He says, yes, it is sacred. So its tree is not to be cut. And he who did that, let the curse of Allah be on him, and the angels, and all of the people. Yo, boy, yay. Oh my goodness. See how Muhammad goes off the rails? This guy goes off there, and he did cut trees, and he burned trees, and he burned people along with those trees. But it says, Anas reported the Prophet declared Medina as sacred. Churches were sacred. Don Lemon today crossed that line. Okay. Declared Medina as sacred and cursed anyone who cuts its trees. Awesome reported, I asked Anas, Allah be pleased with him, whether Allah's messenger had declared Medina as sacred. He said, yes, it is sacred. So its tree is not to be cut. And he who did that, let the curse of Allah and that of the angels and of all the people be upon. Dude. It's like it sounded almost good for a minute there. Okay. It almost sounded good there. It's like, hey, let's be environmentally minded, like the Amazon jungle. You don't want to cut the trees down because we need the oxygens for humanity. And it's important, for humanity that you not cut down all the trees because we need the oxygen, and that's a legitimate thing. You want to keep the forests so that, and, in Europe, they're bonkers on their environmentalism, and they have, forests that they won't let them be cut because they need the oxygen. And, all this stuff. And so Muhammad almost sounded like, dude, it sounded like a little bit of a kind of a progressive idea there. Yes, it is sacred, so the tree is not to be cut. It would have been good if they just ended that hadith right there. If they had ended it right there, then America's leftists could have, used this hadith. But he had to keep talking, like Christian Prince says. And he who did that, let the curse of Allah and the angels and the people be upon him. It's just like a woman, this is a woman who won't, have sex with her husband. And it says, let the angels curse her all night long. So if you cut a tree down, you get cursed all, not just by Allah, not just Allah cursing you. It's not enough. Allah's not powerful enough. He needs help. And so also the angels are cursing him. So you get the angels, all the people, and Allah cursing you if you cut a tree down. Muhammad is overcompensating. So, kill people, burn them, cut their fingers tips off, cut their hands and feet off, crucify them. But if you cut a tree down, Allah, the angels, and all the people, everybody's going to be cursing you. So, very Mohammedan growing up. Yes, Pinky. That's his natural environment, you guys. So he's a very merciful prophet. Yes. Yeah. I didn't actually think about that, but yeah. And so Muhammad was smiling. Muhammad was smiling. In fact, one of the names of Muhammad, one of his titles, is El Dahuk al Qattal. El Dahuk al Qattal. The laughing killer. That was one of his names. And they know this, a few years ago, there was a murder in Holland, the Islamic State of Holland, the Islamic Medina. It's called Amsterdam Medina, the Amsterdam Medina, where it's not a good idea to be a Jew. It's not a good idea to be a Jew in Amsterdam. But in that holy city, fourth holiest city of Islam, in Amsterdam, they killed a guy. His name was Theo van Gogh, and he was related to the artist. Remember the artist Van Gogh, the guy who cut his ear off and painted himself, and he had weird paintings, but he's very, very popular and modern art type stuff. And this guy was his grandson, and he had done a cartoon, I think. I think he did a cartoon of Muhammad or something. And so in the holy city of Amsterdam, some guy killed him while he was riding his bike to work. And he put a note on his chest. And the note said, El Dahuk al Qattal, the laughing killer, Muhammad's title, the laughing killer. And so it's well-known title, and it is in their books. And they did an interview. They did an interview with a terrorist who in Egypt. There was an interview with a terrorist in Egypt, and this guy had done a massacre at some mosque in the Sinai, and they were interviewing him on TV, and he says, doesn't the prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, say to be peaceful, to be good to people, to be kind? And doesn't the prophet say that? Doesn't Islam teach, doesn't the prophet teach, Islam teach peace? Isn't Islam a religion of peace? Aren't you supposed to be peaceful? Then the prophet of Allah, peace and blessings be upon him, teach that as well. And this guy, the terrorist who's in jail, he's in jail already. He's being interviewed. He says, yeah, it does say that. But it also says that the prophet is the Hoka the laughing killer. So we got this cognitive dissonance of Islam. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. The laughing unaliver, the LA. What was it? LA? The Hoka. Yep. Mhm. God bless you, Joan. God bless you. And if you have Jesus in your life, you have everything. Um, yeah. Uh, uh, all right, you guys. Well, let me show you. I got a couple more insane hadiths here. Just kind of showing some insane hadiths today. Okay, omens are only in three things: a woman, a horse, or a house. Now, this is a Sahih hadith. Now, this one right here, where Muhammad forbids Muslims from showing off like this, doing a sacred show in the middle of Medina Square, I mean Times Square. Um, Muhammad forbade that because it says Muhammad forbade praying in the middle of the road. So all these guys are trying to show off for Muhammad, but they're disobeying him because he said you're not supposed to. He forbade praying in the middle of the road. But Muslims don't obey Muhammad any more than they obey Allah. They don't obey Muhammad any more than they obey Muhammad, any more than they obey the Quran. They don't obey any of it any more than they obey the Hadith. So they don't care that Muhammad said the Prophet forbade praying in the middle of the road. They don't care. They're not going to obey it any more than they obey the rest of the Quran. Okay. And there's a lot of things they don't obey, and thank God they don't obey. Thank God they don't obey them. Okay. But they're not going to obey this one either. So, but I just want to let them know you guys are disobeying Muhammad when you do this in a Christian country, and or even in a Muslim country. But they're in a Christian country, the United States, right now. But they're not allowed to do this even in a Muslim country because Muhammad didn't specify. He didn't say he forbade praying in the middle of the road in a Christian country or in a Jewish country or in a Muslim country. It just says don't pray in the middle of the road. He forbade it, but Muslims don't care what Muhammad said. Okay, but anyway, Saddam said omens are only in three things: a woman, a horse, or a house. What the heck? Omens, kind of like a demonic thing, you know. There was a famous movie a few years ago called The Omen. I think it won. I think Gregory Peck was in it or something. It was a really huge movie in the '70s, and it's actually about the Antichrist. It's about the Antichrist and a kid who, a woman who gives birth to the Antichrist, kind of like Rosemary's Baby. It was called The Omen. So it's kind of like a demonic premonition thing like that. But um, Muhammad said that the omens are in three things: a woman, a horse, or a house. So sometimes Muhammad compares women to donkeys and dogs because there's three things that invalidate a man's, pious man's prayer. It's a woman, a donkey, or a dog. That's why no woman should be a Muslim. If you're a woman and you're a Muslim, you should leave Islam today. You should leave Islam because that's what Muhammad says about women. He compares them to donkeys and dogs. In fact, his wife, Aisha, in fact, I could even show you that. Since we're talking about it, we can go ahead and show it to you too, because his wife, Aisha, she was probably 12 years old by then. Um, okay. The things which annul prayer were mentioned before me, and those were a dog, a donkey, and a woman. I said, you have compared us women to donkeys and dogs? By Allah, I saw the Prophet praying. And you guys, what's interesting is there's no answer. There's no answer to this. Muhammad didn't say, oh, no, honey, you don't understand me. That's not what I meant. Okay, no, Muhammad didn't try to defend it. He said, by Allah, I saw the Prophet praying while I used to lie in my bed between him and the Qibla. Whenever I was in need of something, I disliked to sit and trouble the Prophet, so I would slip away by the side of his feet. Of course, he was probably only 10 years old at this time. But it doesn't answer, you're comparing us to donkeys and dogs. I mean, I wonder how it says it in Arabic. عن عائشة ذكر عندها ما يقطع الصلاة الكلب والحمار والمرأة امرأة فقالت شبهتمونا بالحمار والكلاب شبهتمونا. You know this word right here? شبهتمونا. This is the same word that's used. It comes from the same word, the same root word as ما قتلوا ما صلبوا لكن شبه لهم. The word شبه means appeared, compared. You compare us or similarize us to donkeys and dogs, but it's the same word that's used in 4157, Muhammad's other great invention, which is probably the most famous verse in the Quran. They did not kill him or crucify him. It was made to appear so to them. The word appear is shubbaha. So, but anyway, so that's what Muhammad thinks about women. And so every woman should leave Islam. If you're a woman, don't be a Muslim. If you're a woman, don't be no woman should be a Muslim. Leave Islam today and come to the true living God, Jesus Christ. I was a Muslim too, but then I met the true God, Jesus. Okay. All right. And so what's this one? This is okay. Let me just make sure. I want you to leave the other one for last. Okay. Okay, this is the wives of the Prophet. You guys, I'm sorry about this. This is along the line. I was actually looking for hadiths about Salim. You know, Salim, the guy that Muhammad told his owner to breastfeed him. And so this is why I was looking at this. It says, the wives of the Prophet all differed with Aisha and refused to allow anyone with ties of breastfeeding, like Salim, the freed slave of Abu Hudayfa, to enter upon them. They say, how do we know? That may be a concession granted only to Salim. So I'll let you make what you want of that one. The wives of the Prophet. I wonder how many. So they differed with the Aisha. I guess Aisha, once a guy had been breastfed, allowed a guy to enter in to her tent or whatever, to enter upon them. I guess that means to go into their tent, which I'm assuming that's what that means. أزواج النبي okay. كلهن خالف عائشة وأبين إن يدخل عليهم أحد بمثل رضاعة سالم مولى أبي حذيفة وكلن ما يدرينا لعل ذلك كانت رخصا لسالم وحده. So they're saying maybe that was just allowed for Salim, so that now these are the wives of the prophet. You got the mothers of the believers. There's I think probably 12 of them or something. And they're saying, well, that doesn't necessarily become a license. Rukhsa, the word rukhsa is license. It's like, let me just give you an example. Maybe you don't understand. For those of you who don't understand what a license is, let me just show you. Like in the United States, when you want to drive, you have to have a license. Okay. And so I'm not going to show you my license, but I'm going to say you get a license. Okay. In the United States, you get a license so that you have permission to drive. Okay. Okay, you have permission to drive. Well, in Mohammed's system, you get permission, you get a license to be seen, to have, interaction with the male. And that license is given by adult breastfeeding. And the word there is rukhsa, which is license. So that's how you get the license, you guys. That's how you get a license. So yeah, Muhammad's wisdom just streams. Yeah, rukhsa, license to carry or drive. So it's funny that women can be absolutely. And you know why? The most virulent Muslim, absolutely. The strong, because, and you guys, I think I'm the one who came up with this. Okay. I've been saying it for years. I guess I'm old enough now. I'm 62 to where I could actually talk like this. Usually you think, dude, who are you to be talking like that? But I'm actually 62 years old. So I think I'm allowed to talk like this now, to say that I'm the one who said this and I've been saying it for years. But that the strongest, the most oppressed are the strongest defenders of their oppressors. The most oppressed are often the strongest defenders of their oppressors. And in Islam, women are the most oppressed. They are so oppressed. When you see, I don't know if you are like with, there's a video with God Logic, and there today, I think it was, where that guy that they had to drag away, but the guy's girlfriend or wife, who was not wearing a hijab, by the way, she was not wearing a hijab. She was like, dude, defending Islam, like, dang. She was much louder than her boyfriend or husband. And she wasn't wearing a hijab, so she's not really a Muslim. But the most oppressed are the strongest defenders of their oppressors. Linda Sarsour, now she does wear the hijab. Ilhan Omar, for them, it's almost like, it's like an identity more than it is a set of rules. It's more of an identity. That's very good. Stockholm syndrome. Exactly. In fact, I think maybe somebody else said it, and I'm just kind of, it's stuck in my head, and I just took credit for it, and I stole it. Maybe, I don't know, but LGBTQ for Hamas, absolutely. They throw them off those buildings. And now that they have New York City, and I did do a live stream about this, you guys. So I did do a live stream about this. for those of you who want to look more into it, that now they can throw them off of higher buildings because they have New York City now. They have the Chrysler Building, they have the Empire State Building, they have the World Trade Tower. So they can throw people off of much higher buildings now. It takes longer to hit the ground. It takes approximately, from the Empire State Building, if someone throws somebody off of the Empire State Building, it would take approximately 6 to 7 seconds to hit the ground. Okay. Whereas in the Middle East, the buildings aren't as high, like a 15-story building, throw you off, you'll be on the ground in a second and a half. But if it was from the Empire State Building, it takes between 6 and 7 seconds to hit the ground. And so, they do have higher buildings to throw people off of now. And you think, you're thinking, dude, stop joking about this. Dude, just wait and see. New York City has bowed the knee. They kissed the ring. I beg you, New York City, don't deny the Son of God. I beg you, New York City, do not deny the Son of God. You've done everything else. Don't deny the Son of God. And, some people think, well, why don't you say don't deny Jesus? Because the Muslims lie and say they love Jesus. They don't. They love Isa. They love their Jesus, not the true Jesus. But because they've usurped the name Jesus. That's why but one thing a Muslim will never say is that he loves the Son of God. He'll never say that. So that's why I say love the Son of God. Don't deny the Son of God. Isa is not Jesus, absolutely. I know. And Mamdani, he's already doing it, man. The guy, one thing you can say about Mamdani, okay? There's a lot of things to dislike about him. But good thing that you can say about Mamdani is that he was very honest about his view of America, his view of New Yorkers. He's laughing at you guys. His view of Jews, his view of Israel, his view of Christians, his view of white people, property owners, his view of wealthy people. He was honest about it. He didn't hide it. The New York Times tried to make it look good. CNN and the View, they all tried to make him look better, put makeup on him and stuff to make him look better, putting makeup on a pig. They did all they could to prop him up. But he was very honest about what he felt about he wasn't concealing his. One thing you can say for him, he was honest. He talked about what he thought about Israel. He talked about what he thought about Netanyahu. Talked about what he thought about Jews. Talked about what he thought about white Americans. He was honest. And New York, you still bowed. You still bowed down, kissed the ring. Please, New York City, don't deny the Son of God. Don't deny the Son of God. Please. So, okay, you guys. Well, I think we've let me see if I showed you all of okay, there was one more I wanted to show you, I think. Okay, we did this one, 3 things. Okay, no, that's one. Aisha, the wives of the prophet. Okay, yes. Prophet forbade praying in the middle of the road. Muslims, you want to show off, you want everybody to see you, you want to claim your territory, but you're disobeying your prophet when you do it. You're disobeying your prophet who said not to do it. But I know you don't care what your prophet said. I don't blame you. I don't care what he said either. But you claim to be Muslims, you should care what he said, but you don't. but he forbade praying in the middle of the road. Okay, Muhammad smiled. When Muhammad smiles, you know that there is darkness. Okay, you can't have small bells. Okay, the angels don't join you if you have small bells. Well, Muhammad liked big bells. Um, and then here it says, "O children of Adam, we have provided for you clothing to cover your nakedness as an adornment. However, the best clothing is righteousness." Now, somebody the other day, who was it? Can't remember who it was. Oh, Jafar. When I had Jafar here. Now, you guys, this is one of those verses. This is one of those verses you can use when you're talking to a Muslim. Okay, this is one of those verses that you can use. It's the truth. I know. It really is true. They don't believe the Quran. They don't believe what's in the Quran. It's true. They hate the Quran. They hate the Hadith. They don't obey it. They don't obey it. They obey what their sheikhs tell them. And it depends which sheikh, what time of the day. That's what they obey. They don't care what the Quran says. You show it to them, they fight it tooth and nail. You show them what the Hadith says, they fight it tooth and nail. But what can you do? Um, the my friend Jafar, who was here, I don't know, he might be with us tomorrow, hopefully again. But he's been coming on Tuesdays, and he is like one of the top ex-Muslim evangelists in the Arab world. He's from Jordan, and he got saved, and he was on TV for years. We worked together with Father Zechariah. He's a phenomenal preacher, phenomenal evangelist to the Muslims. He knows Islam, the Quran, inside out in Arabic. And he's the one who kind of showed me this, which this is a tool, you guys. This is a tool that you can use when you're speaking to the Muslims, okay? There are sometimes, just Janice, you're being funny. Um, anyway, but he said this, and I thought, wow, that is a really good. So anyway, this is something we can use when witnessing to Muslims, okay? Now, this verse translation isn't really right. It says here, "We have provided for you clothing." That's not what it says in the Arabic. In the Arabic, ya bani Adam. Bani Adam means sons of Adam. You know, قد أنزلنا عليكم لباسا يورى يوري سوءاتكم. The word here, anzalna, this is Allah speaking. He sends down upon you clothing. Allah sends down upon you clothing. And it's the same word that is used for sending down the Quran. Nazalna dhikr. It is the same word, anzal. Nazal means to send down. And here he's saying, we sent down upon you clothing to cover your sins. Su'atkum, to cover your sins, your bad deeds. And then it says, and as an adornment, however, the best clothing is righteousness. You know, you guys, this almost has the feeling where it says put on Christ, and that Christ, when you put on Christ, that covers your sinfulness. And the fact that they use the same word, nazalna, sending down, that is used for the Quran. meaning that this is, and it talks about clothing of righteousness, that this right here kind of shows an open door to show that to cover ourselves with righteousness, there's something that God sends down to us to cover our wickedness. And this verse right here, and this translation is terrible. Let me see if I can find a translation that might be a little bit better. 726. Let's just look at different ways that they translate this. 726. Because if we get a good translation, you can actually use this as a way of showing that God sent down ultimately the Lord Jesus from heaven to cover our sinfulness. Okay. And this was Jafar. This is my friend Jafar. He's the one who came up with this. And, because he knows the Arabic perfectly, and so I was really impressed when I saw that. Okay, look here. Okay. Okay, let's see. Let me just show you so you guys can see. And if you can use it, if you want to use it, you can. I think there's a way to use it. I'm not 100% there on how exactly, but it says, "O children of Adam, we have bestowed upon you from on high the knowledge of making garments." No, that's not right. We sent down on you a garment to cover your shamefulness, your shameful parts and feathers, garments of God-fearing that is better. You know what? I know this is Sam Shimon likes the Arbery. This is the one that Sam Shimon uses the most. When I was with him, he used these a lot. But it says, "Children of Adam, we have sent down on you garments to cover your shameful parts and feathers, and a garment of God-fearing. That is better. That is one of the God signs. Happily they will remember." There's a way to use this. That it is sent down from heaven. The covering is sent down from heaven. It's not something you do. It's not your good works that covers your shame. It's what God sent down from heaven. And it's something that covers you, covers your nakedness. So, I think Yusuf Ali, "O children of Adam, we bestowed upon you raiment to cover your shame as well as to be an adornment for you. The raiment of righteousness, that is best." The clothes, literally that raiment of righteousness is stolen from the Bible. That's literally stolen. The garment of righteousness. Let me just, I think it's in Isaiah, isn't it? Let's look at some Bible verses here. It says in Job 29:14, "I put on righteousness and it clothed me." That's Job. And justice was like a robe and a turban. Revelation 19:8, "It was given to her to clothe herself with fine linen." Isaiah 61:10, "I will rejoice greatly in the Lord. My soul will exult in my God, for he has clothed me with garments of salvation and wrapped me in a robe of righteousness." Isaiah 59:17, "He put on righteousness like a breastplate." Also, righteousness will be the belt. Okay. "For all of us have become like one who's unclean. All our righteous deeds are a filthy garment." Okay. Psalm 132, "Let your priests be clothed with righteousness." Okay. So you kind of have this. Then Revelation 3:4, I'll read this. This is kind of important. It says, "But you have a few people in Sardis excuse me, who have not soiled their garments, and they will be with me in white, for they are worthy. So you have this idea of the clothing, that God providing the clothing, and in the Quran, this verse literally says, it's 726, that Allah says He sends down this clothing from heaven. So it's a door, a little key that we could use to try to show some of the principles, of the principle of righteousness having to be sent down to us. Because in Islam, righteousness is from what you do. You pray 5 times a day, you go to Mecca, you do the Shahada, you recite the so-called beautiful names of Allah, even though they just changed 28 of them. These are the righteous deeds, giving zakat, that, your righteousness comes from you. Like Paul says about the Jews, it says their righteousness came from themselves. Well, in Islam, the righteousness comes from yourselves, from your works. But the true righteousness, we know as Christians, comes from God Himself. Because what does Paul say? They establish their own righteousness. It's actually so important that I really want to actually read exactly where it says. This is talking about the Jews, but it's very relevant to the Muslims as well. And since Islam, most of it is taken from the Jews, they shouldn't have a problem taking this from the Jews too. It says, since they did not know the righteousness of God and sought to establish their own, they did not submit to God's righteousness. Now, let's just read this here. It says, for I testify about them that they are zealous for God, but not on the basis of knowledge, because they were ignorant of God's righteousness and sought to establish their own. They did not submit to God's righteousness. For Christ is the end of the law, to bring righteousness to everyone who believes. Dang, you could just use the rest of your life thinking about the power of these words, man. Dang, that's so powerful, man. Let me just okay, I did this already. Say yes. Okay. That's so powerful, man. Shoot. It's like you read it, and then one day it just like the light goes on, man. That is so amazing. That is so powerful. So powerful. The Word of God is a double-edged sword, dividing asunder between soul and spirit. Let me just put it here and read it again. It's worth reading together. So powerful. This is Paul talking about the Jews. He says, for I testify about them that they are zealous for God. And there's lots of Muslims so zealous for God, for their God, but not on the basis of knowledge, because they were ignorant of God's righteousness and sought to establish their own. They did not submit to God's righteousness. For Christ is the end of the law, to bring righteousness to everyone who believes. Wow. Dang. You could just feed on that for the rest of your life. So awesome. All right, you guys. Well, I just wanted to I don't see the word for feathers in Arabic. Rish. Rish. Yeah, we call it rish, and that's right. Feathers. Allah clothing would sound like a belly dancer would Muhammad was, remember, Muhammad used to wear Aisha's clothing. You guys, I wanted to end this, but you guys keep bringing up stuff. I don't want to say stuff without showing it because I don't want to get in trouble. You know, if somebody says, "Oh, you're making stuff up," you're saying, da, 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 da. And I just want to show you that this is in your books, which is why you should leave Islam. Uh, worth reading, even if it's not what we're talking about. It says, "How does the inspiration come to you, Muhammad?" He replied, "In all these ways. An angel comes to me with a voice which resembles the sound of a ringing bell. Hell's bells, hell's bells. And when this state abandons me, I remember the angel has said that this type of divine inspiration is the hardest on me. And sometimes the angel comes in the shape of a man and talks to me, and I understand and remember what he says. This is the hardest on me. الجرس فيفصم عني وقد وعيت ما قال. Dang. Ah, I gotta take a screenshot of this, man. Shoot. Mo's visitation. Those demons were hard on Muhammad. Uh, because I mean, remember they choked him? They choked him, they did the Zut thing with him, and even here, when it came on, is the hardest on me. I mean, he really used to get pummeled by these things. Um, uh, Seeing the inspiration. I said, dude, this thing is so demonic. It sounds like The Exorcist here. I just saw the thing when it left him and how it pouring with sweat, his forehead pouring with sweat. Clanging bell, hell's bells. The person asked me, can a woman in menses serve me? Can a junub woman come close to me, a woman who's menstruating? I replied, all this was easy for me. All of them can serve me, and there is no harm for any person to do the same. Aisha told me she used to comb the hair of Muhammad while she was menstruating, and he was in itikaf in the mosque. He would bring his head near her in the room, and she would comb his hair while she was in her menses. Oh, boy, yeah. Jeez. Oh, okay. Okay. Here it is. It says, Don't trouble me by harming Aisha, for Allah, the divine inspiration, never came to me while I was under the here it says blanket of any woman amongst you except her. Okay, here it does say lihaf, which is like a blanket. Okay. The inspiration only came to him while he was, but doesn't say that. Okay. Okay. You are shrouded, arise, deliver warning, magnify your clothes, cleanse defilement. Because there's actually one where it does actually say that he's actually wearing, uh, inspiring him, where he except for in the clothes of shit, when he wore her clothes, that's when the demon would come to him. Okay. Okay. All right. Um, I can't find it now. I'm not going to keep you any longer here. Mm. All right, you guys. Well, thank you for hanging around. And if you haven't done it, please do it now. Jesus help me. Tough. Look at the Zut's tough love. Ah, hardest stuff. I thought the Zut was the hardest stuff. Ah, dude, I gotta come and read the comments more often. You guys got some funny stuff, man. Something like a belly. Dude, that's funny. All right. If you haven't done it, please do it now. Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. يسوع ساعدني. يسوع سامحني. يسوع ادخل قلبي. We love you, but much, much, much more importantly, he loves you. And do pray for this pastor, you guys. He really took a beating from Don Lemon, and not a physical beating, but a real. He did in a kind of symbolic sense, took a beating from Don Lemon and his friends while he was doing God's work. Just looking at him, man. Just looking at his eyes like that. You know, it's like it's just not fair. It's not fair that Don Lemon did this to him. It's not fair that Don Lemon did this to him. To go into the church. And this guy kept saying, I have to take care of my flock. I have to take care of my flock. That's what he was saying. And Don Lemon is saying, hey, treat me with respect. Don't push me, man. That's what Don Lemon is saying. Stupid jerk. I'm sorry, guys. It makes me so mad that he did that. And what makes me mad is probably going to happen next week now, too. Probably going to happen again. Don Lemon opened the door for this. And disgusting. Father. All right, you guys. Have a great night. Be blessed. And I'll just go ahead and end it now.